Always thought you could come in here and steal all these beautiful things. What a perfect idea. I think we all know what I'm talking about. In this episode, Halle Berry's CatWoman, approved by Prrrfect. And that brings me to my first point. A lot of people so the problem I'm having and the reason that I'm bringing this podcast to you all is because, or at least this episode, is because I love CatWoman, Halle Berry. I love Halle Berry's CatWoman, and so many people do too. But a lot of people hate on that movie. So much so, there's so much hate for Halle Berry's CatWoman that she won a Raspy Award for it. And if you don't know what that is, it's an award that actresses and actors win for being in the worst movies imaginable. Some of the worst rated movies, according to, I don't know, the Raspies. I don't know. But she won that and she graciously accepted it, like the G she is. But, really this should just be a podcast about Halle Berry, but I guess I'll say that for another time because there are a lot of things I don't like about what's happened to her throughout her career. I don't like the reports I heard of her, white husband calling her a nigger in front of her, 2-year-old at the time, 2 or 4-year-old black, biracial daughter who they both shared and gave birth to, conceived. And, it's just crazy, like, the things that she's been through. She's had her arm broken on set by Robert Downey Jr. Say I'm a liar. He's admitted to it. And it was on the set of, I think it was Gothica. It was one of those movies where she was like, because I did see another movie where she was in the same position, but I don't know if that was the same movie. It was the movie where they thought she was crazy and they put her in a psych ward. And by the end of the movie, she proved she wasn't crazy, and she discovered that her husband was hoarding a lot of women and girls, actually, in underage girls in this shed on this property far out in the country, and he was raping them. And I don't know if that was the same movie, but whatever the movie was, she was in a psych ward in the film, and her character was being held down by Robert Downey Jr. as she was being said to have been going through a manic episode. And she wasn't. She was just trying to get the fuck out of there because people were, holding her captive. And she wasn't crazy. And she was the only one who seemed to acknowledge it. Or seemed to know it and acknowledged it. And he broke her arm during that scene where he was trying to hold her down. Like, he was, it just really kills me to think about what kind of force and pressure you were really putting on this woman, that this frail, Halle Berry isn't frail, but she's definitely a small woman. She's a very petite woman. She reminds me a lot of my aunt, Lorna, who is, very thin in frame. And Lorna's biracial, but I don't think Halle Berry's biracial. Her mom is, I think, biracial, but she herself has 2 black parents. But it's just really crazy because it's like, okay, what kind of force were you applying to break a woman's arm? You broke her whole arm. How did you do that? How did you do that? But that's another video. My big problem is people are hating on this movie. And Prrrfect really makes this argument easier to make because Prrrfect approved of Halle Berry playing CatWoman. And a lot of people, I say that because a lot of people say, oh yeah, they always, when they discredit a black person, they almost always know that they have to uplift another black person. In this case, another black woman who has played the same role. The only other black woman who has played the same role. No black woman has played Catwoman except Eartha Kitt, aside from Halle Berry. I think Zoe Kravitz played in like a recent Batman as Catwoman, but I don't know. After Anne Hathaway, I don't know. But my top Catwomen are Eartha Kitt, Halle Berry, and Michelle Pfeiffer. Michelle Pfeiffer killed, absolutely killed Catwoman. She destroyed that role. It is very, very amazing that they picked Halle Berry after her as the next Catwoman because it's almost impossible to top Michelle Pfeiffer's performance. However, it was topped. I mean, when I'm telling you the soundtrack is off of the charts. Yeah, yeah. Oh. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh. I will literally lose myself singing the soundtrack to that movie. Like, you don't understand. The soundtrack is the epitome of excellence. Like, but it's just really disturbing to see the trend of hate on the first black female superhero in a movie, in a film that was literally dedicated to her. She was the first. You know what I'm saying? People always say, oh, I loved Halle Berry as Storm in X-Men, but she never should have played that Catwoman. That was not a good movie. And then some people will say it wasn't her fault. It was the story. It was the director. It was the how girly they made the movie and how stupid the plot was. And they're like, it was about beauty cream. And I'm like, the first one that you all love so much with Michelle Pfeiffer, or excuse me, the second Catwoman, like, well, not the second, but like Michelle Pfeiffer, the most recent before her, like, she was working in a toy factory. Let's get this, let's juxtapose this adequately. She was working at a toy factory, and she was the assistant to the CEO of the company who pushed her out of a window, and she came back for a vengeance against the CEO of the toy company. I mean, is that not the exact same thing that happened except with beauty cream in the Halle Berry film? So these are the things that let me, when you listen to these people's arguments, these are the things that let me know that people don't have a real reason to hate on Halle Berry's Catwoman, aside from the fact that she was a black woman. And that's just really what it is. I mean, people hated on female superheroes the longest, and still do. But, you know, give trash comments where trash comments are due. For trash films, like, I don't know, the new Wonder Woman. The first one was epic. The second one, it's like, what the fuck? You know? Like, it just really upsets me because she killed that movie. 90-something% of the, I forgot what the extras of the Catwoman movie that I used to have, what details they had about this. But I know it was in the 90s. 90% of, at least, of the action she did in that movie. You know, because it's an action movie. She did her own stunts. This woman literally hired a woman, or the film set hired a woman who specialized in teaching people how to, you know, act like animals and how to walk and move and be like animals. Literally, she studied this woman, and that's why she was able to know how to move like a cat, how to jump, how to react, how to, you know, fight like a cat. So not only did she have to learn how to fight, like what she did in John Wick, but which I still haven't seen. Shame me, I know. But she literally had to learn how to fight in a specific cat like feline manner, you know? So hate all you want. You cannot hate on a woman who's able to do such amazing things. And you can't hate on a movie that was literally that good. People talk about the animation, and it's like I've seen some more ridiculous films that had worse animation that are touted as like the be all end all by a lot of these people. You know, it's just crazy. Like it's really crazy. I mean, let's not even start. No, let's start. Let's start. I'm down for it. Okay, Wonder Woman. Let's take it back to Wonder. That was a great movie to bring up in superhero. There was a black woman on a plane, and I'm definitely making a video about this too. Months ago, toward the end of last year, well, toward the end of the summer, beginning of the fall, I think. And she was, yeah, it was the end of the summer. She was on a plane last year, and she was going off on flight attendants. She was going off on uh, flyers. She was going off on everybody. And of course, they were white. And it was a privileged situation. And this white woman got in her business and, you know, she put her in her place while, you know, she was going off on the flight attendant for, you know, not letting her use the restroom. And she was in the right. But a lot of black people, including my mom, think that she was in the wrong. And I personally, and think that she was acting distasteful. I thought it was perfect. I was here for it. I got my life. I got my life. Like, you're not going to sit here and disrespect me. And there's only so much that you can take. This woman looked to be like in her 30s or 40s. No, definitely not her 40s. Well, she could have been. But she looked like she was in her late 30s, mid 30s. There's no way, maybe even her early 30s. There is no way that she is not going through. She specifically said it. She said she's been through so much in life, and she has waited for a moment to be able to go off and let loose like that. And it's real. You know, I'm not going to run around here saying, you know, that I'm superior to white women or whatever, but I will know my place. You know what I'm saying? And she knew her place. She knew where she was going, and she knew where she came from when she came. You know? And it was crazy because she started educating these women and these people on this plane, and like she really was dropping bombs. Like, one of the things she said is she brought up the story of Khalifa. And Khalifa is a story, I get chills thinking about it. Because I did a little bit of research on it, and it blew my mind. Like, I really did. Like, I did research for like a good week on it. And Khalifa is this story of, it was written actually by a Mexican man. A story of a black woman, dark skin, beautiful, with gold bands. And she was the leader, the queen of California, the island of California when it was an island. And she led her people, and they lived in what we know as, I mean, basically it sounds like Valhalla, where the Valkyries live. And she was, I mean, they wrote Niffen and all kinds of things. All of their weapons, all of their tools, all of their everything were made of gold because that was the main mineral they had, like a plentiful amount of, and a great resource of. And it's just crazy because it's just like, we have stories that are, and they didn't let men stay in the society because, so when a boy was born, they would basically, like, you know, have him raised by someone outside of the tribe or whatever, because it was a manless society and a woman-run society. And they wrote Niffen, they wore gold bands on their arms and on their bodies. They wore gold jewelry. They made gems and jewelry. Excuse me. They made tools and weaponry out of gold because it was the resource they had a plentiful amount of. And it's just crazy because it's like, okay, so you all would rather see a white Wonder Woman. Just, let's just be honest. Let's be real about it. You all would rather see a white Wonder Woman. Clearly. That's because I've never seen Wonder Woman depicted as a black woman in a movie. But I've seen plenty with her as a white woman. You know? You might be able to find a few universes where she's black in the comics, but that's about it. And it might not even be the one from this dimension or universe, which is crazy because it should be, because it's supported by history. And I'm not saying that Khalifa and that whole story is true and it actually happened in real life. I'm not saying it didn't either and that it's not true. What I'm saying is the history shows her as a black woman. The history shows the legend of a black woman. And that was one of the most renowned things about her. She was a black, dark-skinned, beautiful woman. That's what everyone remembered about her. Like, Helena of Troy could not compare. Cleopatra might not even compare. And she ran business around the world. They convened from California with, people in trade from the Middle East, from South America, So I feel like that's a really good example to prove what I'm talking about. And my point of Halle Berry's CatWoman is not being hated on for any other reason aside from she's a black woman and it was a black lead superhero movie. I just saw an article online from a year ago referencing this, and almost 2 years ago, and I'm just like 2019, and I'm just like, they're like, the title of the article is like, it something along the lines of, isn't it time we have a first black female lead superhero film? And I'm just sitting here like, are you saying that because no one accepts Halle Berry's CatWoman, even though you might? Or because you don't even accept it? Clearly, you don't even accept her as the first, her film as the first black female lead superhero film. So, clearly, that's what's going on. And it's really messed up because it's like, this is what we get. We always get the leftovers, the scraps. I spoke about it before with Disney and Princess and the Frog. We get the scraps, we get the leftover stories that can be retold. The playful banter was another amazing quality of that movie. Michelle Pfeiffer had a lot of banter in her CatWoman, and Halle Berry did as well. Every scene was like a memorable line. Every scene. And I think that's why people hate it so much, is because she really just did it with such ease, And black women have to be so much more sexy and so much more intelligent and so much more badass and epic in order for us to be recognized as, doing a very good job in a film. We have to do, other people are expected to do mediocre jobs, and we're expected to be the best of the best. No one can compare in order for us to be recognized in our talent. And even though Halle Berry is that woman, that makes people even more upset. And it's just so crazy. It's like, you had lines like, are you suggesting my husband's a murderer? I'm suggesting you tell me where he is. I ask him myself. Or when the lady said to her, Oh my goodness, where are my manners? Where are my manners? Have I offered you anything? Can of tuna, saucer of milk, smoking handgun, as she throws her the gun. And Halle Berry's Catwoman's crazy ass, Patient Phillips, actually takes the damn gun, grabs it just as a reflex. You know? She's like, which, by the way, dear, you just emptied into my dead husband's chest. Oh, Charles. Help! Somebody help! It's Catwoman! She's killed George! Maybe you can tell I just remembered his name halfway through. It was George. But you know, it's really good stuff. She was like, you know, okay, I'm gonna geek out one more time. One more time. She said, she said, who's under there? Who's in that mask playing dress up? You're just a scared little girl playing dress up. She said, you tried to save him, you're gonna look like a cop killer. You tried to save him, honey. Honey, you can't even save yourself. If you don't have an identity, why keep it a secret? Because you killed me. I'm the girl you flushed down the pipes. I'm Patience Phillips. The boss lady who ended up being the villain, like, let me tell you, when I tell you that bitch was so upset, like, she was so good with the comeback. Her comeback game was so real. That bitch said, that's who's under there? Oh my goodness. It was ridiculous. But like, it was a really good movie. It was very good. And I loved how it ended with like female empowerment in the early 2000s. But people weren't ready for that, you know? And that's a big thing too. People were not ready for female empowerment. People weren't ready for a movie with a superhero who's a woman, who's a black woman, who's sexy as shit, who's smart as shit, who's badass as shit, who can handle her own, who at the end of the movie, when things all go her way, just about, she turns down the last thing that will go her way, being with this amazing man who's sexy as shit, because she is a loner and she wants to be as bad as she wants to be and as good as she wants to be, and she can't drag him, a cop, down with her, you know? She's got to be her. And I really like that because it was, people keep trying to give credit to Elsa in Frozen, you know, for being the first female movie to like, for female empowerment. And it's like, no, no. One of the first movies to really do that and be epic was Halle Berry's Catwoman. Like, you know, she really made that statement at the end of the movie. She was like, you know, when I'm bad, oh, I'm bad. When I'm good, I'm real good. You know, and it's so real. It's like she wanted to have the ability to make her own decisions and to be her own woman, her own Catwoman. I think we all need to find it in ourselves to, you know, be our own selves, be our own women, and not the women society wants to make us out to be. I understand we gotta compete and we gotta, get, every once in a while you want to have a little competition, you want to have a little, you know, I'm smelling myself, I'm feeling myself type of situation going on. But, you know, no one can compete with you in being you. No one. No one can compare. You know? You try to be somebody else and you will always be compared to that bitch, and you will also always never be your full self. And you'll never bring out your full potential. So forget the haters. Tune into my YouTube and tune into my podcast for the next episode because I'm keeping them pushing really quick this year. Hey, you guys. So I wanted to just come in at the end of the episode or on the tail end and let you all know about an album that is coming out. Now, number one, I put this out through the Lynn's Bins YouTube channel because one, it's Linsman's, and I need to start updating with a lot of my older episodes from my podcast. But I did this because Halle Berry's Catwoman is getting better recognition for the status it holds within the just the cinematic world and within the hearts of so many more than were set to exist for so many years. For the longest, people have been, hating on this film, and, Entertainment Weekly just came out with an article that is the result of them interviewing the people, the cast and crew of 2004's Halle Berry's Catwoman. So I just wanted to jump in on that wave that's starting about now. It's kind of funny though because I started making this video just about 18 minutes or after seeing a post that I was 18 minutes late getting to through Halle Berry's Instagram that featured the article and the movie and how, people are showing so much love for the movie and she, is just so grateful for the support all these years later and just acknowledging the fact that the movie is so much more, you know, has so much more of a strong footing, a stable footing, solid footing today than it did back in 2004 in reputation. But I also released this and uploaded this and am uploading this to my channel because I want to forewarn of a soundtrack that coincidentally I had just informed Halle Berry I would be making and my fans I would be making by tagging her in a post through my page just days ago. And then here she is just 30 minutes ago making a post about, Entertainment Weekly contacting her about the movie. So I just think it's just really another instance of God and the world telling me that, Lynn, you're going places because, like, Beyonce for years has been, like, on the same page as me. Meg is on the same page as me right now. Like, Beyonce was on the same page as me just a year after I released, not even, after I released Breakfast at Tiffany's Moon River. She released a cover of it and did a Tiffany's commercial, which I hated because why are you working with these Blood Diamond people, but whatever. But not whatever at the same time. But then she started getting on her EDM kick right after I got on my EDM kick. And I released my album right after she did, but I had been working on it for like 2 years. And then she went on this country kick, and I, of course, love country. Well, I won't say of course, but I sing in every language or in every genre in different languages. So yeah, I do love country, and it's just really funny. And then Meg, the Stallion, right after I released my Gangsta's Harmony, like real hard, tough ass song talking about haters and shit like that, she released Kiss, and then right after I started this song that was inspired by her "Womp Womp Womp" song. I released this song, getting into my Tekken and Japanese roots and things because I took Japanese, so I sing in Japanese, and I grew up with Tekken from PlayStation all the way up to its new iterations through Xbox and things, and so I have a little bit of Japanese in my song, and I have a little bit of, me singing in Japanese or rapping in Japanese. And then I have a little bit, and then the beat itself just conjured up this kind of like, street Tekken versus Street Fighter type of energy in me where it's like, it's a battle, round one or some shit. And then she comes out with, um, Watashi wa whatever it is. I don't know the song yet, but she comes out with the this new song that everybody's like, it's taking over the world. And so it's just really cool to see that I am on the same wavelength as a lot of these people. And then here I am, even on the same wavelength as someone who doesn't even do music, Halle Berry, just because artistically we're on the same wavelength. And I'm coming out with music that is supposed to be kind of a 2.0 to the original Halle Berry soundtrack. And it's titled Because You Killed Me. So it's titled dot 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 space Because You Killed Me, all capital first letters for each of those words, and then period. And it features, as of now, I'm thinking just 4 songs, but I'm really thinking about throwing a fifth one in there. But it's really good, and it's really trying to, it's a tribute to not only Halle Berry and the movie, the film, but to Natasha Schneider, who is the absolute best thing that hit that soundtrack, or hit a soundtrack in this lifetime, like, to be honest with you. Like, Natasha, the late Natasha Schneider is a force, a force to have been reckoned with. And it's just crazy because it's just like, I didn't even know she had passed. So like that's really sad, and I just really hate that, you know, I can't share with her something so epic that I'm in the works of creating right now, in the process of creating. But just know, you guys, if you like Who's in Control, Natasha Schneider, if you like the soundtrack to Halle Berry's Catwoman, you're in for a treat. For those with 2 feet.